Good evening, folks. Welcome to Activate Worcester. Great seeing you again. And tonight we have something that's not political, so don't get excited. But it's a lot more fun than the normal political-related shows that we've done. As you all know, there's been lots of changes in the local retail profile in the Worcester area over the last 2-3 years, whatever it is. We've seen companies like Spags go down, literally. We've seen Kaola, that many of you know over on Park Ave. They closed their doors roughly 6 months ago. Fairway Beef, another old reliable in the greater Worcester area, they closed the 3rd of July 2 years ago and gave all their people exactly 2 hours to get out of Dodge. It was an amazing thing. And since that time, there have been many other changes, different ownerships, O'Connor's, and many of you know who that is, the terrific Irish restaurant, and many things have changed. But the biggest impact on Grafton Street is a company called Better Electric. And Better Electric is a new appliance dealer. Better Electric opened their doors 75 years ago. Think about that. Same place, same bat time, same bat channel. Everybody in the area knows it and knows it very well. And February just passed, Saturday the 25th to be exact, the front page of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette trumpeted the fact that this was lights out for a major retail store in the city, alluding to Better Electric. Now, this is a company that's not in any way struggling. It's very financially solid to this day, and it enjoys just a tremendous loyal customer base. And I've been associated with the company for about 4 years. And since the breaking of that story, it's almost like you're at a wake. You didn't have a body, you didn't have, flowers and all that sort of business. But the people come in and they're really upset that you're closing because they've had a real close personal relationship with the gentleman who I'll introduce in a moment, and his dad, who started the business, again, 75 years ago. But the crazy thing is they're really sad for themselves, because now where do we go to get the kind of product, but more important than the product, because you can get them anywhere, but to get the kind of service that Better Electric has provided for many years. And it's the kind of a company that when you go in, they're not pushing something, they're not going to try to trade you up, get you to go in a direction you really didn't want to go in. It's a very simple concept, and I wish more companies would follow this. Find out what the customer really needs, and then just help direct them to things that would appropriate that and make it happen for them. And I've seen a number of occasions that the ownership will direct them to go to different companies who have certain products that we don't have access to. And that's the background on the whole thing. Now, the reality of all this, as I say, is that it started 75 years ago, and Ray Grimaldo Sr. was the man that started it. And Ray Grimaldo Sr. is no longer with us, here or anywhere else, but his son, the president of Better Electric, Ray Grimaldo Jr., as he's known by so many people, Jr., is joining us. Ray, great having you.
Pleasure.
Great having you on.
Thank you.
Okay. Ray has been with the company literally since he was a kid, 51 years and counting, and he's run it for 35 years. He's healthy, business is healthy, family is healthy. So the big question that everybody keeps asking, why are you doing this to us, Ray?
Well, first of all, you can't control time, and I have worked very hard, many hours. My day starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes goes till 6 o'clock at night, and I work 6 days a week. And you know what? It's time for me to be able to kick back and relax, spend a lot of time with my kids, grandkids. You know, for years and years, my wife used to go on vacation. She'd grab the kids and then go because I was almost tied to the business. I wasn't able to free up, and which a lot of that is my fault. But you know, I was kind of I was handcuffed to the place, and it's I just need to, because I'm getting older. I just want to relax. I feel I'm in good health. I want to be able to do a different format. I don't want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning anymore.
Maybe 7 o'clock.
And maybe 7, maybe 8. You know, have a cup of coffee in the morning, watch TV. Just kind of want a different format. It'll be interesting on how I react and how I do with all of those changes. But I'm ready. I'm ready for it to happen. I really am.
I guess the thing that I look at is that he's not being driven out of the business because of neighborhood changes or because the business has gone south or that product line is no longer in vogue, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the case at all, and I know it. Even, for example, if we roll the clock back to the wonderful Fauci times, even during the pandemic, business didn't slow up. If anything, it kind of picked up, believe it or not. And people don't understand why that is. Well, prior to pandemic, we were in kind of a normal mode. Once the pandemic hit, and so many people were now working out of their houses or just living there, period, rather than eating one meal a day at home, they're eating 3 and doing laundry constantly and all the other things that we sell, and using the stuff up at an even greater rate than they normally would. So as a result, we were able not only to survive, but to thrive through that whole experience. People would call on the phone and say, "Gee, are you guys still open?" We heard that a few times. In fact, the biggest problem that Ray had to deal with, the manufacturers, and we're not talking little rinky-dink companies, we're talking people like Whirlpool, Maytag, Speed Queen, GE, and many, many, many others, okay? These are all big outfits. And what we were experiencing due to the pandemic, so were the manufacturers. So they were on limited shifts. They were on limited shifts with limited personnel, and accessing product was really a hassle. In fact, Ray has this system in the office that everything that was on back order, he would have it all tracked on the computer and to have the sheets printed out. At one point he has, as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, there were like 8 different sheets that were completely filled with all products that had been sold but were on back order. And as I remember, that ended up being between, 500 and 600 individual transactions. And for a company the size of Better Electric, that's huge. And from an angst perspective, the phone calls we were getting, at least half of them is, "Where's my stuff? You know, I ordered it 3-4 months ago. Where is it?" And we were basically at the mercy of the manufacturer. And they would give us these tentative dates, and they were just that, tentative. And we would quote that to the customers, and they thought we were lying for some reason. In fact, many, many times I heard Ray say, "We'll give you your money back," plain and simple. Then they'd go somewhere else and they'd really be yanked because they'd go to the back of that line. And it was a very, very stressful time. And I think that whole experience, along with a very, very personal experience, the tragedy that he went through recently, all kind of added up to the fact that this is nuts. As I remember the story, Ray's dad came to the store literally up until about 3 or 4 days before he passed away. He was in his 80s. And I think Ray Jr. did not want to follow Ray Sr.
Yeah.
in that track, if you will. And I also mentioned, if I can, a personal thing that happened to Ray. A couple of years ago, in September, his wife, Andrina, who worked up at Quincy, and she basically ran the math department. I saw her right around Labor Day, and she came into the store, and she was really, upset because at that point they had the new professors coming in and the new kids and everything else, and basically at that point it was all being done online. And many of the adjunct professors that they had couldn't handle it, and they didn't know how to deal with it. So all of this was on her shoulders. And as I remember Ray saying, she's up until 11, 12 o'clock at night, sitting up in bed doing emails. And I remember saying to him, I said, she's sharp as a tack. And he said, well, not so much because of all this going on. Well, Ray has 3 daughters, all involved in medicine in various aspects of it. And one said, Mom, we really think it's a good idea to have you checked out. And this is a woman that was in great shape. She was in her 50s, healthy as a horse, no drugs, no nothing, just clean as a whistle. Spin classes, et cetera, et cetera. Well, to make a very, very long, brutal story end, she went through various tests, and she ended up with brain cancer. What do they call it? Level 4?
Yeah, it was neoblastoma.
Neoblastoma.
Yeah.
I hope I never have to say that word again.
I know.
And she was given at that point 6 to 9, maybe 12 months. And as it turns out, she made it to almost 2 solid years. And last August 6th, she finally passed. And she didn't pass in a hospital. She was at home. And there was a deterioration big time over the last several months. And a lot of that, weighed on him. And going through all of that, you cross those rivers sometimes, and you come out on the other side with a whole different perspective. And none of us a year ago saw this coming. And to a person who worked there anyway, we all feel that this is without a doubt the right thing for you to do. You're getting out in time.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, it's a gutsy move.
Yeah.
Just could have stayed there.
Yeah.
Because that's what you always did.
Yeah, I think a couple things that weighed on this decision, obviously watching my wife's health deteriorate, but also at the same time, the pandemic took a lot out of us all.
Indeed.
Availability of merchandise. We had some of our help that had been with us for quite some time that did some of the logistics, the delivery guys. I had 2 of them walk out on us. I was actually out there doing house deliveries, getting close to 70 years old, carrying stuff up 3 flights of stairs, but I had to make it happen. I could look at the truck and there's stuff on it, and it wasn't going anywhere unless I got in it. So, but I've had some great employees through this pandemic. There's a couple delivery guys that stayed with us through all the thick and thin, both Lance and John. The guys in the store, Ron, Mike, Susan, Tina, they all stayed with us during this pandemic, and I am more than grateful, and I can't say anything but kind things about what these folks did for me. Because it was tough. We had, like you said, we had almost 500 pieces on back order, and I have to tell you, the customers understood. There was very few customers that got upset about the fact that we give them an anticipated date. The date never came through. They kept pushing it out. And you know what? Everybody understood that. People understood it. And if they couldn't, they were very cordial, and I was too. I said, listen, I'll give you a refund. That's all I can do. I can't give you what I don't have. And, it was a very, very tough time for everybody in this country, the pandemic. People, should you wear masks, shouldn't you wear masks? It ended up being a confrontation on how to handle all of this. But it was frustrating, and we got through it. And, there's just different horizons for me now. I want to enjoy what I have left. When you get to a point where I'm 69 years old, there's more behind me than there is ahead of me. So, I mean, we got to be realistic about that. But I got
Tell me about it.
3 fabulous daughters. 2 of them are in medicine. One of them is a account manager at Hanover Insurance. 3 great son-in-laws and 4 great grandchildren. One of the things that was a little bit upsetting is my newest grandchild unfortunately passed about 1 month before my wife did. She actually, my granddaughter was born, I should say, 1 month before right after my wife passed, I should say.
Yeah.
So, the business did well. We could still continue, but I just need to take a break from it all. I want to enjoy what I have left and spend time with my kids. That's just the way I feel at this point.
Well, the thing of it is, when you think about the business, if we were in the furniture business, and let's say you ordered a sofa, okay, and it got pushed out another 2, 3, 4 months, bottom line is, so what? You've got another sofa in the house that you can use. The stuff that we sell at Better Electric, these are appliances. These are all necessary items. Laundry products, obviously, refrigerators, stoves, ranges, and microwaves and all that. When any of those go, it really affects your life. So if your refrigerator is gone and you order something and it doesn't come in quickly, it becomes a real problem. The thing of it is, from the consumer standpoint, even if they decide to go somewhere else, the other guys that we compete with experience the same thing. The big difference is this. Better Electric is part of a big buying group out of New York, like 85 stores, as I remember the number. 500,000 square feet of space that they warehouse in Long Island. So because of it, the group buys in huge quantities and great pricing, and we tended to have product when the other guys, the box stores and the other, major retailers in the Worcester area, didn't. So it was that kind of a scenario that we were in. But talking about appliances, you've been in it, way more than half your life. How has the business itself changed?
Well, I think what's happened is all the manufacturers give us support. And when I say support, based on service. In other words, we rely on factory service to uphold the warranties the companies honor. Unfortunately, that also took some significant hits during the pandemic. Sometimes the service was out 2 weeks. Sometimes the service wasn't even available, and that got very challenging too. The support is so important in our business because a lot of people have questions. A lot of these appliances sound differently, work differently than anybody's had before, in particular washing machines. So a lot of times people are always addressing problems where it sounds different, it's making a whooshing noise. They really sound, a washing machine sounds so much different than it did when you go back to the old Maytags and Whirlpools that our mothers used to have. So customer education is important. Also, the support from the companies is important, and that's been a lagger, and they all admit that. That has been very, very tough. I think what's happened is young people aren't going into the appliance repair anymore, so I think that ends up being a problem. I think that's an opportunity for people if they want to work very hard, but that's one of the laggers we have. But I have to tell you, going through all of this, over the last 3 or 4 months, once it got public that we were going out of business, I have to tell you, people have embraced us. They're sad we're going out of business. Their questions are, where am I going to go now? You guys can't go out of business. All kinds of stuff like that. And you know what? It really feels good that being in this business as long as we have, most people have been happy for what we provided them. Service, knowledge, fast delivery, and we did most things right. I mean, I thank all the people out there that have patronized us for years and years, and for people that weren't satisfied, I'm sorry, but in reality, we've tried to satisfy everybody, And I think we did an adequate job based on the feedback we're getting.
I would say that adequate is a very, very milquetoast verb to be using, or adjective. It's a lot better than that. And I can tell you, because, I'm on the front line like all of us are. As I said earlier, it's been like a wake. People come in and they're long-faced and, oh my God, we feel so badly for you. All we needed was a body and some flowers.
Yes,
And we'd have a wake.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, by the way, the store itself, which is still open as we speak until August 1, is at 190 Grafton Street, okay? What has happened to the Grafton Hill area over the years? How has it
Well,
changed?
Grafton Hill has always been a blue-collar worker neighborhood. But I think there's issues in the town, in the city. There's been some bad things happen on Grafton Hill in recent years. It hasn't got any better. It is challenging. There's homeless people in the local area. We've been very fortunate. We've never had any problems with crime or anything like that, a broken window every blue moon. But we've been very fortunate. But the neighborhood is changed, and I think the homeless are what makes it sad.
That's a good way to look at it. Between that and obvious drug users walking up and down the street, it's been tough. It's been
Yeah,
tough.
we got a package store next to us, and there's nip bottles all over the sidewalk in the morning. I'm picking them up and throwing them away.
Pick you right up in the
Yeah.
day, I'll tell you. It's an amazing thing. What is going to happen, from your perspective, with the building and all the other surrounding area that you're involved with? At
Well,
this point?
basically, we own the whole area there. It's almost shaped like a triangle. And through the years, my father has bought 3 tenement houses, tore them down, and we used it for increasing our warehouse size, parking, things of that nature. My suspicion is, I don't really know if someone would potentially update everything that's there now. In my eyes, I could see everybody leveling it and doing housing, maybe retail. It's hard to say. That would be up to whoever purchases it. But we are interested in selling it, and,
Sure.
and somebody can do something nice there. I really think something nice could be done there.
Well, where it is, if you're not all that familiar with it, we're on Grafton Street, and we are literally walking distance to 290. So, which makes it very, very attractive, easy on, easy access, and so forth. Plus, you're very, very close to Polar Park and that whole section of the city now that's just taking off with restaurants and other businesses and
Yep.
so forth.
The Canal District.
And the Canal District, thank you. So all of that is in our really direct proximity to it. The parcel of land that Ray is alluding to, when you go past the store, it looks like, a moderate-sized retail store, no big deal. But the total footprint of everything that he just mentioned is about roughly 2 acres. And to get 2 acres of land in Worcester, right close to 290, very, very tough. So whoever comes in and does something with it, they're not going to just knock down Better Electric or put a new retail store there. The way I see it is that it's probably going to be a company that, if it's a retailer of some sort, it's going to have to be something where they need to have drive-through and need that kind of a footprint to handle it. Because again, it's easy on, easy off with the highway. And if it doesn't go in that direction, the logical thing is to literally raise the whole thing and simply go vertical. And that seems to be what Worcester is all about these days. Every large piece of land is being absorbed, and these corporations are going straight up 6, 7-story apartments, condos, whatever you want to call it. We don't seem to be attracting businesses into the city anymore. What we're attracting is people to live in the city. And I have no inside knowledge on this at all. It's just, my gut feel. That's what I see happening, one way or the other. But whatever is going to go in there will elevate the neighborhood. It'll be better for a lot of people
yeah.
down. Plus, it could create possibly some job opportunities, which you can always
Yep.
use. There's no doubt about
Yep.
it. And just in kind of closing the loop with this, we now know what's happening in Grafton Hill. We know generally the direction of what's happening with Better Electric and the physical plant. What's next for Ray?
Well, I think what I'm going to do is I think I'd like to start maybe just getting a little rigid schedule in the morning, maybe exercise, join a health club. I'm going to visit the Cape. I bought a place in Florida a number of years ago, which unfortunately I haven't been able to get down here and spend any time due to the pandemic and also my wife's illness. So I want to spend time there. I want to do some traveling. Because I've been doing the same thing so long, getting up at the same time, doing the same ritual, I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out, but I can tell you that I'm looking forward to it. I really
You
am.
should. It's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is that you've more than earned this. But I will also caution you with one other thing. I've seen in my many years a lot of people who retire and end up in various levels of trouble. Not you personally, but it's real easy to get caught up with doing a lot of drinking, gambling, whatever, or just, and believe it or not, it can actually be stressful. I mean, you know where you're supposed to be every minute of every day, and when that's yanked from under you, and I guess a good friend of mine once told me, once you retire, okay, the beauty of it is every day is Saturday.
For me, it'd be Sunday.
Every day will be Sunday, okay? That you can do any doggone thing you want to do,
Yep.
where you want to do it, and you got the help to make it happen. And you got all these wonderful people in your family supporting you, and you're involved with them. Who could be better than you? You're a blessed man. You've earned it.
I appreciate everything, working for me and this interview, and I thank you so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate this.
I appreciate you being here.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Folks, thank you for watching. Please watch next week. We'll have another interesting show for you. Probably back in the political mode because we're getting ready to do our thing in September. So enjoy the nice cool weather here in Worcester, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.